What's up, y'all? It's popping. It's Steve. Boss reacts to this vid by Sloan. It's titled Joe Jonas Sued by Sophie Turner over their children. This is messy. I did not know that the Claim to Fame man, the host from Claim to Fame, was married to Sansa. That was her name on Game of Thrones, right? Sansa? What was the other one name? Anyway, sure, they got some drama going on within their divorce or marriage child. I don't know what's happening. Let's watch.
The divorce between Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner is heating up
Sansa
very
Stark.
quickly.
What was the other one
named?
named?
Some major details.
Joe Jonas is now responding, saying Sophie Turner crossed the line.
Sophie didn't find out about the divorce until 4 days later from the media.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An issue with the allegation that he's effectively abducting the kids. This is an unfortunate legal
They got
disagreement
kids,
about a
Clara.
marriage
When was
that
she
is sadly
pregnant?
ending. Mastermind.
Sophie Turner sues Joe Jonas.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Oh, and she BFFs with Taylor.
Sophie Turner has sued Joe Jonas over their children. She claims that he's holding them back and accuses him of abduction.
Oh.
But at the same time, Joe responds, calling her statements bogus. She's currently watching over the kids, and he accuses her of trying to bring their divorce overseas to better her chances. So let's get into it.
Who is the more popular Jonas?
Joe Jonas and his divorce with Sophie Turner keeps getting messier and messier. And I know he's dying inside because he wanted this to be a clean breakup, but it's far from that. Because Sophie Turner, yesterday or this morning, literally sued Joe Jonas over their custody agreement, which is to bring the kids to England as a forever home. Sophie has accused her husband, Joe Jonas, of refusing to let their two young daughters return to their forever home in England. Sophie's now claiming that Joe is holding their kids' passport, even though they previously agreed that the kids would live in the UK.
But apparently, Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas were looking for a permanent home in the UK from December of 22 until July of 2023. The parties exchanged contacts with the seller to purchase the property on July 7th of 2023. It even says that they moved into the property and that the father had to leave on July 31st, which is Joe, because he was starting his US tour.
Supposedly, they hashed out a custody agreement when they were back in Florida, and supposedly she was going to come to New York after she was done filming and pick up the two kids to take them to the UK.
Turner also claims that she and Joe agreed over Christmas 2022 that they would make their forever home in England and would begin looking for schools for their daughter Willa. The parties were both excited for the family's move to England. The now former couple ultimately found the perfect home in the English countryside, which is why they put their Miami estate up for sale and began a long-term rental contract with plans to purchase the property.
But when Sophie arrived, Joe allegedly wouldn't let the kids leave. Here's a quote from the legal document. The father has prevented the children's return to England, which is a breach of the mother's rights of custody under English law, England being the children's habitual residence.
Here is the main bomb drops that is just being kind of glazed over. She found out from the media. She found out with all of us about her divorce? Is that what they're trying to say?
This all just happened because supposedly this moment that they're describing where she came to New York and he wasn't giving up the kids was on September 20th. And actually, we don't know one of their daughters' names, their youngest daughter, but their initials are D and J, which is interesting because we haven't seen any hints of what their name would be. Not that it really matters, but I just thought it was interesting.
2 weeks after Joe Jonas's divorce filings, this was like September 15th, Sophie and Joe met up to discuss their separation, with Sophie claiming in the documents that she reiterated their plan to have the kids move to England, but now she's accusing Joe of withholding their passports. The legal filing states the father has possession of the children's passports. He refuses to return the passports to the mother and refuses to send the children home to England with the mother. Talk about bad parenting.
But this situation gets even messier because Joe's
that girl, that bad parenting, she is so messy. I'm always seeing her in these videos.
Joe Jonas reacts to Sophie Turner's misleading lawsuit over their two daughters. Joe Jonas didn't hold back when responding to Sophie Turner's lawsuit, in which the actress claims that the singer has wrongful retention of their young daughters. A rep for Joe Jonas told Us Weekly, After multiple conversations with Sophie, Joe initiated divorce proceedings in Florida, as Florida is the appropriate jurisdiction for the case. Sophie was aware that Joe is going to file for divorce. The Florida court has already entered an order that restricts both parents from relocating the children. Sophie was served with this order on September 6, 2023, more than 2 weeks ago.
The rep says their team is surprised by Sophie's latest move. Joe and Sophie had a cordial meeting this past Sunday in New York when Sophie came to New York to be with the kids.
Joe and Sophie had a cordial meeting this past Sunday in New York when Sophie came to New York to be with the kids. They had been with her since that meeting. Joe's impression of the meeting was that they had reached an understanding that they would work together towards an amicable co-parenting setup. But after that cordial meeting, things took a turn for the worse. Quote, less than 24 hours, Sophie advised that she wanted to take the children permanently to the UK. Thereafter, she demanded this through a filing that Joe hand over the children's passports so that she could take them out of the country immediately. If he complies, Joe will be in violation of the Florida court order. Joe is seeking shared parenting with the kids so that they are raised both by the mother and the father. And of course, also okay with the kids being raised in both the U.S. and the UK.
That's wild.
The children were born in the U.S. and have spent
If I was a kid, I don't want to go back and forth between countries to see my goddamn parents. That is extra as hell. Even going back and forth between households in the same city is annoying and a hassle, I can imagine. But you having to go back and forth between U.S. and the U.K., who the fuck want to do that?
Their lives here.
How often?
They are American citizens.
They're also saying, no, Joe, you can't do that because it is a breach of the mother's rights of custody under English law. Because England is the children's habitual residence. They do have dual citizenship. They are fully involved and integrated in daily life in England. So don't let the media spin this of being like, oh, they lived in, the United States and Sophie is just trying to run off to England. That's not the case at all.
His attorney continued to blast her lawsuit, saying it's an unfortunate legal disagreement about a marriage that is sadly ending. They say when language like abduction is used, it is misleading at best, and a serious abuse of the legal system at worst. The children were not abducted. After being in Joe's care for the past 3 months, at the agreement of both parties, the children are currently with their mothers. So yeah, that is a little bit like shady of Sophie to claim like, oh yeah, he's abducted the kids whenever she's actually got them in her care. Sophie is making this claim only to move the divorce proceedings to the UK and to remove the children from the US permanently. Joe is trying to keep the peace. He told Us Weekly that he disavows any statements made on his behalf that are disparaging of Sophie, so he's not trying to trash talk her, even though he kind of can if he's, if his lawyer is saying what's up. But there are two sides to this story, so we'll have to see if Sophie does respond.
After enjoying her night out dressing for revenge with Taylor Swift, Sophie Turner did file the lawsuit in a Manhattan court today, requesting to secure the immediate return of children wrongfully removed or wrongfully retained.
We haven't really seen much of Sophie Turner out and about, but recently she was seen with Taylor Swift, which is huge. And I question what is really going on here. Like, is it a PR move? Are they trying to make Sophie look better? Because Taylor Swift is really at the peak of her career.
Okay, I think the funniest thing with the Sophie Turner and Taylor Swift little thing that happened the other day in the city is they went to a restaurant called Via Carota. Sound familiar?
No.
It didn't to me, so I searched it up to see I wonder what it was. Was it
you
good? And I
stalker.
scrolled down. It's one of Joe's favorite restaurants in New York City. Mastermind.
Keep in mind,
girl, get a job. And I know they ain't even paying on TikTok. Get a job, girl. That is so dumb. Okay, that's his favorite restaurant. That can't also be her favorite restaurant. Or maybe he was the one who introduced her to the restaurant and now she fuck with it too. So she wants to go eat with her friend. I'm so confused. What are you talking about?
that Taylor briefly dated Joe back in 2009, but he allegedly ended that relationship with a quick phone call. Though there doesn't seem to be any more bad blood.
2009?
Taylor went on to write her 2021 hit, Mr. Perfectly Fine.
That was 14 years ago.
So I wonder if this is kind of a move.
14 years ago?
These exes of Joe are together and they're a powerhouse and they can't be, messed with. It's not really clear to me. So leave a comment below what you think about this.
Of course, this isn't the first second or even third time they've been around one another. But I do happen to love the timing of it all. I'm not gonna lie, I do wonder how that call went between them. Sophie, love, I saw the news. Is everything okay? Yes, it's been quite challenging with my name being smeared all over the media. And Taylor's like, girl, let's give them something.
Girl, drive to wherever you about to drive to.
This divorce is different. I mean, I thought at first it would be a little bit more low-key and they would just kind of quietly move through everything. But clearly, Sophie and Joe, they just don't get along and they need to figure it out for the sake of their children. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
It is a thin fucking line between love and hate. The older I get, the less I want to get married or have children. And I know, you know, in society, women are looked down upon for not being married and not having kids. I don't give a fuck. Look down all you like. I don't want to go through this because you could be so in love with someone, everything's going great, and then you have kids with them, get married, and then shit goes the fuck left. Now you stuck in this divorce. They're trying to take your money, and then you in this custody battle. They're trying to take your kids. Like, bro, fuck all this. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want no parts of it. The whole marriage thing, I wonder, is there a law against, like, having a wedding but not actually signing paperwork? Like, I would do that, you know, just to celebrate our relationship. And, you know, I could have a ring and we could tell people we married, but we don't actually sign any paperwork that legally binds us together. I wonder, is there a law against that? Or is there a law that's like, well, even though you didn't sign the paperwork, you're technically married because you went through it. You know, I need to look into that because I would be willing to do that because I do understand that just as weird as society is, there is a certain level of respect that's placed on your relationship when you guys are married. So I wouldn't mind, you know, pretending to be married to the world, to be honest, just because it does come with social benefits, which I don't personally agree with. I think it's stupid, but you got to play the game of fucking life. So I do understand that. So I would be willing to do that. So we can pretend, we can pretend that we're married, and we, you know, have the ceremony and all that. But it's like, and we're not actually married. You know, I'm not signing shit. You ain't signing shit. We, you know, people just gonna look at us as a married couple. They think we married, but on paper we actually not. Can I do that? Let me know, and I'm gonna do my own research myself. Anyway, this is a hot mess. Everybody going through it with they fucking marriages. This is wild, child. Y'all let me know what y'all think though. Let me know what other videos you want me to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.